Hey, what's going on, docs? Dr. Jason Torado here. Welcome to Mindset Monday. So today we're talking about how to make more by doing a whole lot less. Right? A lot of you guys out there are just doing so much, and what happens is you do so much that it actually starts to work in reverse. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about how to make more by doing less, by literally by subtracting things that subtracting things. So basically growing by subtracting. Now I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, but it's just stick with me for a moment. I think that in practice there's a lot of opportunities to grow, to seek wisdom, to get smarter by adding, new sources of information to our daily, diet, stuff that we put inside our brain. And that's what a lot of chiropractors do is they get stuck in thinking, I've got to know more, I've got to learn more, I've got to add more. So for example, if like, reading through a website is a good idea, maybe I should read through, 5 or 10 websites. If I'm watching a YouTube video learning how to do something, then maybe I should go through maybe another 5 or 10 YouTube videos. Or if I find a small piece of information on Facebook, then maybe I should, that might add to my practice, then maybe I should start, looking into, reading information on Twitter. Maybe I should read information on LinkedIn. Or maybe, I should start looking at other blogs to be able to teach me more information on how to run my practice. The problem with this is that in our modern world, all this stuff becomes noise, right? And the noise can become overwhelming after a while. And any type of relevant information or relevant signal that you kind of get from these in these information sources can get lost, and you can get, and because it's just too much coming in at one time. And if you, for example, if you take a look in any type of public setting where you go, what do you see? I mean, whether it's a bus stop, whether it's on a train, or even in an airport, or even at chiropractic seminars, wherever you are, you'll see, what are people doing? People are literally glued to their cell phone every single day. They're glued to their cell phone. And it's because they're just consuming information. It's coming in at hyper speed. And so you'll even see some people that are driving their cars, right? They're driving their cars and they got their cell phone inside their ear, or they've got maybe their eye plugs inside their earplugs inside their ears, or even people that are just walking on taking a daily walk. You'll see that they've got earplugs inside and they're talking to people. They're not giving their brain a break. And sometimes these people, gets a little crazy, because where I practice, we've got some really busy intersections, and sometimes you'll see some people crossing these intersections, like literally talking on their phone or listening to something, and they're completely oblivious to what's going around them. And sometimes that can be kind of dangerous, right? So what I want to tell you is that you can grow through doing less, and there is wisdom that comes from subtracting things from your practice, subtracting things from your life. And so I know for a fact that we know more about what is wrong than what is right. I mean, have you ever thought about that? Really, we really know the things that we shouldn't be doing more than the things that we really should be doing. So with that, let's think about this. When it comes to wisdom, when it comes to knowing what to do, when it comes to knowledge, there's like there's two types of categories. There's the negative knowledge, which means this is wrong, this doesn't work, I've already tried it and it doesn't work. And then there's the positive knowledge, and that's, well, this is right, and I know that this works. And so when I talk about when I say negative knowledge, what I'm talking about is, it's more obvious. I think that negative knowledge is much more obvious to error than positive knowledge. And so therefore, I think knowledge really grows by subtracting things much more than by adding things. And so, if you think about it, wisdom and true knowledge is really just the art of subtracting things. And that's why, if you think about it, that's why we all learn from the failures that we go through. And we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes, because realistically, we know not what to do, right? We're just not going to do that because we know that it failed. And so a lot of chiropractors, I find, when they're building their businesses, they are in such a hurry to just add, to gain more knowledge, and to add more and more things to their practice, whether it's more marketing, whether it's Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, LinkedIn advertising, or it's they want to add more equipment, whatever it is. I mean, so many chiropractors that I meet, they keep on adding all these things to their to-do list, or they just want to learn another technique or another training or another seminar. These are things that they must have. They feel that they must have. And a lot of these chiropractors that I talk to, they act as if, like, if you add more things, then the smarter that they're going to get, and the more money that they're going to make in their practice, because their practice is going to grow. And nothing could be furthest from the truth. It's insane the way they think. It's almost it's counterintuitive. What happens is these chiropractors end up, they're just chasing these shiny objects, and that's what happens. They acquire more and more shiny objects, and they get really distracted. And the reason why I know this so well is because I was one of those chiropractors. I was one of those chiropractors that was chasing all of these shiny objects. And look, and when I tell you that I was chasing these shiny objects, I'll tell you, my first. Many of you probably know that my first few years in practice, I mean, I literally made a poverty level income. I lived in an apartment. I didn't make much money. I had trouble paying my bills. Why? Because I kept thinking that I needed to add and add and add and add. And so finally, what I did was I chose a completely different philosophy. I literally changed a completely different philosophy. What I did was I realized that maybe there's a possibility that I could do more by doing less. And so what I did was I stopped going to my seminars. I stopped watching the news. I stopped watching social media, except to post things from time to time. I stopped adding things to my practice, adding equipment, changing techniques. And then I started to use fewer types of ways to attract patients. I started to focus more on the patients that I had and communicating with my patients that were already inside my office. I started to think about how can I serve those people a little bit better. And rather than trying to add more and more things to my practice, I focused on what I already had. I literally got rid of all the other stuff that I was doing, and I did less and focused on more of what I had. And you know what happened? It worked. I mean, it literally worked. And it didn't just work okay, it worked really well. I mean, my practice literally went straight up. It was absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you something, me personally, my confidence grew as a result of that. Spiritually, I grew. Psychologically, I grew. Emotionally, I wasn't like a crank all the time. I became very, very happy. I started to work out a little bit, and things just got a whole lot better by doing less inside my practice. And so I'll tell you something. Back then, for someone to tell me to, like, drop something, don't do it anymore, do less, I thought they were crazy. I really did. But you know what? That advice is what I'm telling you to do. And I'm telling you because I believe that it's the best thing that you can do right now, especially now that we're at the end of the year. We're going to be going into 2023, and everybody's looking to do all these things. Maybe some guys are starting to feel a little bit of pressure that you haven't reached your goals by the end of the year. Well, you know what? Don't feel pressure. Do less. Gain wisdom, get smarter by doing less in your practice. And that's what I'm telling you to do. Okay, guys, have a blessed day. look, whenever you're ready, here's how I can help you generate an additional 5 to 10 extra $1,000 a month. If you want to know how, send me a message, and I'd love to get on the phone with you. I'd love to help you grow your practice, guys. I'll talk to you soon. This is Dr. Jason Tirado.